once again with Dr. V. Issa White, PhD. And we're going to open up the screen, and Dr. White is going to speak with us about the state of the world in turmoil and crisis, and if this is the beginning of World War III, which it sure looks like it. Dr. V. Issa White, it's a pleasure. As always, I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to open the floor for you to share your powerful perspectives. Thanks once again for sharing your thoughts with us.
Well, first of all, thank you, Brother Lance, and allowing me to be on your platform once again. Before I go on, I want to congratulate you on your pending new citizenship of the great Republic of Ghana. That is remarkable. That is something that inspires many of us who live in the diaspora, that we can take the plunge to go home, and that there are states on the continent who's willing to welcome us home, so that we can get busy and do what we need to do to help not only the African on the continent, but the African throughout the world. Thank you, and again, congratulations. Yesterday, November the 17th, President Biden of the United States did something that was despicable, satanic, and just callous. And that is that he has allowed the Ukrainian government, President Zelensky, to utilize long-range weapons to attack and to strike the Russian heartland. Now, President Putin has stated months ago that if there is an escalation in this manner, that he'll be forced to respond in like kind. And that really means striking the heartland of the EU as well as the United States. Now, what's so despicable about this is that we know that the incoming administration, Donald Trump, has already sent word and feelers out to try to end the conflict. And in a matter of a couple of weeks, he has made some remarkable progress. But Biden, who heads the Democratic Party, is very angry, very ugly, very counterproductive, because they are embarrassed that they lost the presidential election to Donald Trump in a fashion that is embarrassing. They lost the Electoral College. They lost the popular vote. They lost the House, and they lost the Senate. So what is on his mind, as well as the mind of many of the Democrat leaders, is to sabotage any piecemeal program that could come about and bring forth an element of justice and peace and stability in the region. Now, I had been saying for over a year that the United States, that the Biden administration want to have a third world war. I mentioned it in reference to Israel, that over a year ago, they were talking about building a pier. I mentioned to all of you, to the audience, that that wasn't a pier, that was a military installation. That has been true. I also stated that the United States was putting more and more weapons and soldiers, not only in Israel, but throughout the bases in Syria, as well as Iraq, hoping that it would cause a conflict, hoping that Iran would take the bite and attack these bases, thus pulling America into the war. Iran did not take the bait. They influenced Israel to strike at some of Iranians' targets. Iran struck back in like fashion, but they wanted a greater escalation escalation because they wanted to get in. Most recently, the United States argued and maintained that the Iranian leadership was trying to kill Donald Trump. Now, that's very interesting because the United States haven't said really a mumbling word in reference to the assassination attempts against Donald Trump. When I say mumbling word, there still haven't been a full investigation of the guy, the young fella who took a shot at him, and also the older fella who was outside Mar-a-Lago, Trump's home, with armaments ready to take a shot. There hasn't been a full investigation. It has gone quiet. So, but you're telling us now that you're so concerned with Iran trying to kill President Trump. That was nothing more than a ruse to pull the United States into a conflict with Iran that would escalate into a third world war. As this is going on, the United States has given South Korea additional nuclear armaments, trying to bait North Korea into a conflict. Now they're saying that Biden utilizes the excuse, saying that, well, since North Korea has sent some of its soldiers to assist Russia in the conflict against Ukraine, that is why they're giving Ukraine the ability and the right to strike the heartland of Russia. Well, that's correct. That's not true either. All right. What's the big deal? If we have given Ukraine armaments, and we have even allowed American militias to go and fight for the Ukrainians, and we have even signed off on the Ukrainians to try to get African troops there and to pay them as well as Indian troops to go there. And now Russia's saying that, listen, we can do the same. What is the problem? What is the problem? There isn't any problem. The point is that, again, you're looking for a conflict. Now, who wants the conflict? Yes, the American political system, but more so the military-industrial complex. They love to have a war for 10, 20 years or more. In fact, if Afghanistan was still going on, they wouldn't even be looking at Ukraine, because Afghanistan, like any war, is a cash cow to certain leaders in the United States, leaders of the military complex, leaders within the political circle who get kickbacks through donations for their campaign. That's what it's all about. In fact, one of the people who was so excited about the United States giving Ukraine the ability to strike the heartland is George Soros and his son. They already released a text stating that this is a great thing. This is wonderful. Is it wonderful to have people die? For them it is, because death means money. Death means a continuation of an American hegemony. And I'm telling you now, audience, we better wise up and see what is taking place, because if this thing escalates and they strike Moscow or any other major city in Russia, we are not going to be home watching a war on the YouTube or television or listening to it on the radio. We will be experiencing that war home. We will see missiles over our heads. Russia has the largest nuclear arsenal of any country in the world. And they have weapons that are supersonic, that are nuclear, that we cannot stop. Not at all. China, the second largest economy in the world, was one of the world's largest militaries. They have everything in their arsenal to attack us in any place in the world. North Korea, you think they're a little poor country. They have supersonic stuff that can hit us, as well as nuclear armament. If we don't stand up and say to our government that this is wrong, then we too are complicit in the development and the coming of a third world war that no one will be safe for. We talked about the end of democracy. Let's talk about the end of the world. That's what we're looking at right now. And it's a shame that people like Vice President Harris, AOC, Maxwell Frost, and all the other, Jeffries, and all the other so-called people who believe in progressivism and the rights of the underclass. It's a shame not one of them, not even Bernie Sanders, has had the integrity to come out and say that this is wrong, this is nonsense, and this is putting the world in peril. In fact about it, someone right now in Congress or the Senate should call for a complete, immediate impeachment of President Biden, because he is short-circuited the Congress to escalate a war that no one wins. No one. He is following the ideas of Liz Cheney and a host of others who are warmongers. Now, what does that have to do with us as people of African descent? First of all, for the Blacks who live in the United States, you should know that 50% of the military are made up of Black men. Black men. The other part, white poor men and poor Latinos. But 52% are Black. And they're being deployed to all the hotspots in the world, where they're now just sitting like ducks, getting ready and waiting for a strike from an adversary to hit them. And it should also be noted that these young men did not join the military because of patriotism. It's an economic issue. They joined because there aren't enough jobs and viable jobs for them to make a living and to take care of their families. So the only thing available to the Black man in the United States who is not playing basketball, who wasn't fortunate enough to go to college, and who does not have a degree to get a higher end job is the military. Our country must stop. We must realize that the American hegemony must stop. We cannot control, we cannot rule, we cannot bully any countries any longer. So the question is, are we on the edge of World War III? The answer, sadly, is absolutely. And if I have to be the only voice to speak out about this, I would do so. Because no one is telling you the truth and the issues that are at stake. And the last thing I'll make again is that Biden and his cronies and the party is doing a great disservice to the American people. And it's all about the fact that they're spoiled brats, they lost the conflict, and they would do anything to undermine the new administration, even if it means the deaths of millions of people. They have no concern and no love for you. And if you follow and support those people, well, we feel sad for you because you have just turned your back not only on your own race, but on humanity. You have turned your back on humanity. So I pray that we all can get it together, and whatever country you're in, if you're in Ghana, which they have American militaries there too, you have to speak out. If you're in South Africa, if you're in Namibia, if you're in Tanzania, if you're in Kenya, if you're in Egypt, if you're in Congo, if you're in Senegal, where they all have American troops and French and Belgians and so on, they're all on the same side. We have to fight against it and say that this is wrong. Another side topic that we'll talk about later on is the escalation of the conflict in the Sudan, which is not giving much press, and we know why, skin tone. But it's something that we must look at because it's getting really heavy. Thank you, Brother Lance.
Thank you.
For the opportunity. If you have any questions, I can take one or two. If anyone has said anything, if you have anything, I can give about 3 minutes.
Okay. There's so much to ask, brother, that with the short time we have, I couldn't even come up with a question out of the 100 that's swirling around in my head. But the point you brought up about not being comfortable in America to watch the war elsewhere on YouTube or on television, or even in some of the so-called mainstream media outlets that tell us lies. We can only lie but so much when missiles are over our heads. What would you suggest one do? Is there any way to, you can't defend yourself against a nuclear attack, but what would you suggest families do to hunker down and prepare even at the last minute, aside from intense prayer?
Well, in the United States, it's going to be imperative if there is going to be an attack, and there will once this thing escalates, to have enough food in your house, to last for 2-3 months or more. All right, have a bag ready to go. Keep your car filled up with gas. Get road maps because the GPS is not going to help you. All right, get road maps and learn the different avenues you can take, state roads to get to a better area. We know where the strikes will come. Russia, China, North Korea, all these other countries, they know where our nuclear sites are. They know where we're vulnerable, like we know theirs. So if you're close to a nuclear site, like you have one in Orlando, look for areas where you can get away, get far away from it as much as possible. Prepare now, because when it happens, it's going to be too late. Don't even worry about you're going to get a gun. You get a gun, your little pea shooter's not going to do anything. You're not even going to know who to shoot at. They're not going to send no troops. Everything is aerial. Everything is designed to cause disruption in communication, satellite. You control the satellite, you control everything. And they're able to do this. So prepare yourself for those of you in Africa. Africa would be the last place they attack, but they will try to create disturbances within your local governments, all right, to get on the side of America. They will pay off people. I mean, it's not an accident right now that the United States has given Israel, as well as Ukraine, aid and assistance to recruit Black men out of such places as Kenya, the Congo, Madagascar, as well as in parts of Namibia and other parts of the continent. They will try to pay you off, and they will try to pay off your government to support their interests. And if that happens, you will see a proxy wars taking place in Africa that would be disruptive to the educational, economic, and the social stratum of the continent. So therefore, we cannot allow that to happen to Mother Africa. Not at all. Not at all. Because the only reason they want to come in there and a conflict are for resources. You have to understand that the United States and Europe do not have the means to carry on a long-term conflict. I know most of you believe that this is a superpower, which means in your mind that it's almost like God, that they can do anything, but they don't. We don't have the lithium deposits. We don't have the iron ore. We don't have the minerals that we need to continuously make weapons of mass destruction. And Europe, they don't have it. In fact, they don't even have the food to feed their soldiers for a long-standing conflict. So that means that all of their needs is going to come out of Africa. And they will try to disrupt means to get it. So just be smart. Don't be fooled. The American media is a sham. It's all of warmonger harlots who like bloodshed. So whatever you see in the American media, don't go for it. If they say go, you stop. If they say blue, you better say red, because it's counter. The truth is counter to what they say. Did I answer your question, brother?
Yes, quite thoroughly, quite thoroughly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to come on later on when I have more time to really explain and talk about the individuals. You need to know them. The individuals who are pushing this. And here's a surprise to you. One of those individuals, and we're going to talk about it next time, that's in the major pillar of this argument of creating a conflict and war, is none other than former President Obama, Barack Obama. He's in the mix of this, along with his friend Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, their friends. And we're going to talk about this because what you think you know about him and his activities, you don't know at all. We have to get to the real truth of things. So anyway, it is what it is. We have to fight on. We have to stay unified. We have to speak the truth because, brother and sisters, we don't have many more choices out there. It's critical. It's critical at this stage. Okay?
Thank you, brother. Thank you for taking the time to share with us.
And may God bless all of us. All right. Have a good day. And we're talking again, Lance. I don't know the national anthem of Ghana, and I don't know the slogan, but I can say what Marcus Garvey stated, and that's up you mighty nation. You can accomplish what you will, and you did, brother. You accomplished what you will.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. I'm very happy about this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Take care.
Take care, brother.